Hi, and welcome back to
Inspired the Game. I'm Sean.
And I am Lola. Today we are talking about Picture Perfect. Now this is a lightweight game for 2 to 4 players by Arcane Wonders, who we want to thank for sending a copy of this game for us to review. Now before we get into our review, we'll give you a very quick overview of how it plays. In Picture Perfect, you are a photographer trying to take the best picture after a party. Your goal is to fulfill as many wishes of each guest as you can. To begin the game, each guest is assigned 3 wishes in their corresponding envelope. These envelopes are divided amongst the players along with a central pool depending on player count. The game is played over the course of 6 rounds. To begin a round, simultaneously, everyone around the table will look at the envelopes that they have in front of them. As they go through the wishes of the guest that they are looking at, they will place them around their table. Now, sometimes they will also be placing other individuals that maybe they want to be standing beside. The wishes that are in the envelopes can consist of things such as being on one side of the table, to the back or to the front. It might be they want to be beside a certain person, or it might be that they want to make sure that a certain person's face is not seen. Once everybody has gone through the envelopes that they have and placed whoever they want to around the table, the first player will draw an exchange card. Now this card will have some rule for this round that everyone must follow in order to exchange the envelopes between them. Once this exchange has been done, the first player card is passed to the next person and a new round begins. The round begins by everyone looking at whatever new envelopes they have. They can rearrange the guests around their table as they want to. Now, over the course of these rounds, you may or may not have an opportunity to see each envelope. You have a choice with each guest whether you want to put them around the table or exclude them from your photo. During the game, every player has one VIP card that they can secretly sneak into one of the envelopes. This guest will now score double for everyone around the table, whether they did well with it or not. Once the final round is complete, everyone can do one final rearrangement of their photo if they would like, and then take a picture of it with their smartphone. Screens are removed and then scoring begins. To score the game, you will be looking through each envelope one at a time together and see how many you score. Then you look to see who has gained the most points and made their guests the happiest, thereby taking the best picture of the party.
So the poet John Lydgate said, "You can't please all the people all the time," and nowhere is that more true than in this game. Everybody wants to be someplace, and you're not going to get everybody in there by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a lot of fun seeing how far you can get.
And it's funny too, because very often you physically can't, because people are indecisive. Well, they want to be on the left and they want to be on the right, or they want nobody in front of them, but they want to be at the back. So there are times that you're pulling up a card and you know right from the get-go then that there is no way that you can make them happy with all their wishes.
My question is, why does the dog not want to have that person's face seen, and what did you guys do to the potted plant?
That it's sentient.
That it's sentient.
And it has its
It
wishes.
wants to be next to the table for some reason. And we're able to interpret the plant's thoughts. That's cool.
So this is generally a fairly lightweight game, but it's got a really nice memory and deductive element. So it's a spatial puzzle, and each game plays really quite differently based on how the cards align when you're putting them in their envelopes.
Now, as a player, you can only look at one of your envelopes at a time, and that's where the memory element comes in, because you're going to have to remember, at least in the short term, what did you just look at when you look at the next envelope that may be a character related to what you just looked at.
Well, and the most important thing here, too, is that you don't get to keep your envelopes. Some you might keep, but generally they are going off. So at the beginning of each round, you can look at all your envelopes, including ones that you've had from previous turns and you just want to remind yourself, but there's a good chance that a few of your envelopes will go someplace else and you will never see them again. So you really need to remember between the various rounds as you lose them what your previous cards had said.
And of course, most importantly, you're going to want to remember where did you put your VIP card so that you don't end up switching things around and messing that scoring opportunity up.
The components are really nice here. The shields that you put up are nice thick cardboard and nice and sturdy. I like that they have different images on them so you can choose based on which you like. Same with having the reversible floors and having 2 different table choices. So the base game comes with cardboard standees, which are very nice. So you'll see it in some of our photos. You can also purchase separately acrylic standees because acrylics are so nice. It's a great addition to the game. I think that it really improves the aesthetic to use the acrylic standees, but the cardboard standees are still nice.
And the cardboard standees make it a little easier to block somebody's face because they have a white aura around them that you can use to do so.
And I enjoy the variety of wishes that your guests can have. So they can be very straightforward, like left or right, forward, back, away from the table, or otherwise, but they also can be other things like not seeing my face or not seeing somebody else's face.
And some of the preferences will have a camera icon on them, which means it's referring to the picture that you end up taking. Now, as long as everything in your picture is just the game, so you're not shooting over the top and seeing stuff in the background, you can take it from any angle you need to fulfill those preferences.
Yeah, so it's really neat because you can use some creativity in how you take your picture and how you place things in order to meet the objectives. One thing that's interesting to note too, as far as the components go, is the acrylic and the cardboard standees actually have different ornaments for the table. You might be wondering what these things on the table are doing. They are decorations in the regular game. Now, there is an auction and bidding variant that you can use here, and that can spice things up a bit. And then if you're playing with that variant, all of your little decorations on the table are your currency that you get to use. So I think that's pretty clever. And what's nice is that if you like more player interaction, because there's not a ton of player interaction in this game. It's puzzly, you've got your own little spatial puzzle you're working on, you're getting different envelopes here and there, but other than that, it's a little bit of a solitaire game. You want to spice that up, you can use that auction bidding element to increase that and make it a little bit more interactive. I think the replayability is really high here as well. At least it is for us. We tend to pull this out again and again and again because each time you're filling the envelopes, it's always going to be different. Some of them will be absolutely ridiculous when you put them side by side with other ones and impossible. Others will have perfect synchronicities that work out wonderfully, but it makes it engaging and it makes the puzzle different each time. So this game plays for about 45 minutes. So it's light, it's fun, it's perfect with families. So our final thoughts on this is I've had a ton of fun with this game. I love a spatial puzzle though, and the memory component isn't too challenging, but it is nice to have as well. It's different between games and it's a ton of fun.
And it's nice to see a game that uses your smartphone, but not for an app-driven game. It is just simply to take a photo.
Yeah.
You could play it with a normal photo if you wanted, but then you couldn't score the game for about a week. Well, it's 1 hour photo.
Well, I think you can play without, if you don't have a smartphone around to take a picture, I think you could still play this game. Just go to eye level, make sure you have things visible, you can check it with your friends. So it is possible to score it without, but it makes it fun taking that photo because that's a whole point of this. Yeah, so the theme is strong here too. It really ties in well. You're arranging things to take a photo. This game makes a great filler game. It is just fantastic. I absolutely really love it and have a ton of fun with this. So this game is currently available by Arcane Wonders. You can check it out if it sounds like the type of game that you think you'd be interested in as well. Thank you so much for watching today.
If you've enjoyed this video, please support the channel by subscribing.
And as always, happy gaming, folks. So the cardboard ones have some flat plates. The cardboard ones have some flat plates and more. Yeah, the cardboard one has some flat plates and even like the cardboard one has some flat plates, and whereas so they're a little bit different, and that's kind of interesting.
Just glossing over the whole thing. I once had to stack several table implements to get the candles high enough to cover somebody's face.
You literally stack some on top of another?
Yeah.
I didn't even know they would stack.
It was not easy. It was like a bottle of wine, a platter, and then something very delicately placed on top. If anybody had sneezed, it would have been a very bad party.